We are talking with Oliver Sloup of Blue Line Futures right now, and as we transition over into our livestock trade on a Monday, Oliver, we wanted to see how this live cattle market would actually react to the fact that we had cash cattle wrapping up last week at 104. We're on the cattle market here today. Is there much that's going to be driving this market once we get that August contract off the board?
Well, it seems to be kind of catching its breath here. We obviously saw a big pullback last week on the back of the cattle on feed report from the previous week, and the market just kind of stalling out and settling into a little bit more of a range, which shouldn't be all that surprising considering we've had such a nice rally here over the last couple months. And the funds have established a halfway decent-sized net long position. Last week's commitment traders report showed they added about 4,300 contracts, so they're net long about 60,000 and change right now, which is healthy. It's not overextended by any means, but it doesn't look like they're in the mood to be aggressively adding, especially after last week's trade. And to me, that indicates we'll probably, again, settle into more of a range. I don't think the fundamentals are really in a place to break us out or break us down. So looking for a sideways trade in that October live cattle. To the buy side, really looking to buy just a little bit lower, closer to that 103.50, 104 area, especially if cash continues to soften up this week. I wouldn't be surprised to see that be achieved. And I think that's going to be where the value is for that October live cattle contract.
Now, when you look at a chart, and we were just looking at a 6-month chart here on the October live cattle that you referenced, the long-term low goes back to April, early April. Now, are you looking for things to maybe, a lot of times they'll shoot for maybe a retracement, like a 38% retracement or something like that, or 50%. I don't know if that applies as much in cattle as it does in the grain markets, but is that something that you would look at as a potential technical target, or does that concern you that we're selling off?
You're speaking to the Fibonacci retracements, and I use those quite frequently and rely on them for entry and exit points, and I think a lot of other traders do too. Cattle and livestock sector as a whole is a little bit different animal because the participation and the volume is a little bit thinner, so they're not as reliable as they might be, and it's a lot more of an art than a science for sure. I wouldn't be surprised to see the market continue to but anything, below 100 stretch with the way things are sitting right now fundamentally.
Thanks, Oliver, for the time. Oliver Sloup, Blue Line Futures, joining us with a look at our markets right now.